Okay, I'm here with Greg Daley, and Greg, you're the reason we are all here. So would you like to tell me a little bit about Daleys Nursery and how it was born and where your ideas for starting it came from?
Daleys Nursery, well, where it started from probably takes back when I was a little fella, probably about 6 or 7, on this same little bit of ground here. I sort of started a veggie garden, but that wasn't a nursery, but it rolled on into actually when I travelled over to New Zealand in the early 20s. I was cycling around and I sort of came across people growing fruit, and that's where the interest in horticulture came back to Australia, did a course in Hawkesbury Ag College, and I was with the idea of starting a nursery up here and getting my convincing my dad and family to give us a little bit of land to start the nursery. Then I convinced my 2 brothers, Rick and Rod, to come into the business, and that's when the seeds were starting. So we, while I was at Hawkesbury Ag College, I was bringing seeds up in the last year, and by the time I finished, it came up here. We had plants going, and in 1980, in the spring, we had enough plants to go to the Shannon markets, and at the Shannon markets we started selling trees, and then we started letting pamphlets out and advertising a nursery, and 40 years ago that's what it all started to go.
So nowadays you've still got your 2 brothers with you, but you also have your son Paul, who we met earlier. You've got Andre, your son-in-law, and you've got Corey, your nephew, and Alia, your niece. So there's quite a lot of family members that have come into the business. So family is obviously also another really important integral part of this small business. Would you agree with that?
I certainly would think so. I can already remember Paul when he was a young fella that I think I used to pay him 2 cents a tube to tube up and pass me the plants to graft, and that was the beautiful part. Now it's actually, we've got all the grandkids coming through, and they're starting to appear on the scenes in the holidays and doing sort of odd jobs around the nursery.
So, Greg, as the boss of the business, you obviously have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, but you still get out in the nursery and, you still go and play with plants and graft plants. So, what is it about working with plants that really inspires you and gets you out of the office and, keeps you inspired to run this business and keep growing the business as you have done?
That's probably a lot of reasons. I mean, I think there's instinctively, everyone loves working with plants, and it's just a natural thing we're attracted to, but I just find the fact that we do such a huge range of edible plants, reforestation, trees, and to plant those seeds or take cuttings or to graft them and see them come through and then see them sort of been sold all across Australia, it's a really rewarding feeling of that been an occupation like that. So I'm probably at the age now that I should be retiring, but it's my hobby and my passion, and hopefully I can be doing this for another 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, that's right. You're probably at the age where you should still be out planting trees too. Plant them for the future. So with that in mind, do you have a favourite fruit, Greg?
Favourite fruit? I mean, there's so many, but I mean, I've always said a lychee. I mean, to sit down and peel a lychee in the hammock and gorge on a kilogram of lychees is pretty rewarding. But the other one that always comes to mind is fig, and a tree ripened white Adriatic fig, picking it off the tree, peeling the skin back and just absorbing the beautiful flavour. And I've got to say, I think a lot of people, there's the up and coming jackfruit.
Yes.
It is just so exciting, so many uses, and there's so much variation, and very excited about the jackfruit. When people first come across the experience with jackfruit, it's usually sometimes the smell of what's that, stinky smell in the background, and then when you start eating them and getting used to it, you smell a jackfruit and you've got this whole new relationship with the smell of a jackfruit.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
It's absolutely delicious. Yeah.
And it's that combination of flavours of all those tropical bananas and mangoes.
And you can dry the fruit. I mean, dried jackfruit, I think it's probably up the top of dried fruits. The other thing, I mean, is the curry bit we all know about. You can pick a young jackfruit off the tree, chop it up, put it in a curry, and you've got this delicious, meat-free curry.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today, Greg. That's fantastic. Great day.